Hello, this is GHOne News on GHOne Television with me, El-Nurein Abass. Coming up are the headlines. Coming up this morning, President Mahama promises free sanitary pad distribution will not be a one-off event, as he assures of recuperation of Vice President Professor Opoku Agyeman. Also coming up, Ghana Bar Association defends its statement on the suspension of the Chief Justice GHOne, said it cannot take a stance until a logical conclusion is reached. The details of these stories coming up shortly. Please don't go away. Many thanks to you for choosing GHOne News. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has assured that the free sanitary distribution for girls in basic and senior high schools across the country is not a one-off gesture, but a sustained policy commitment. The initiative is aimed at preventing school dropouts among girls due to menstruation-related challenges. Speaking at the launch of the program, John Dramani Mahama noted that the intervention seeks to uphold the dignity of young girls, enhance menstrual hygiene, and eliminate one of the silent barriers to girls' education in Ghana.
This program is a multi-ministerial collaboration involving 3 ministries: the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. It also aligns with our national goals and global commitments, particularly the SDG 4, which says quality education, and SDG 5, which talks about gender equality. But beyond that, it is rooted in something more profound. It is rooted in our values as Ghanaians, our belief in fairness, in dignity, and equal opportunity for all our children, whether they are boys or girls. So today I say to every girl child in Ghana, you are not alone, you are not forgotten, and you are not invisible. We see you, we believe in your potential, and we will stand with you every month, every term, and every year. To our parents I say, you have carried this burden for too long, having to choose between books, food, fees, and sanitary products. Help is here, and help is here to stay. This is not a one-time gesture. This is a sustained policy commitment, and we will expand it with your support and your feedback.
Meanwhile, Education Minister Haruna Idrisu says the free sanitary pad intervention marks a decisive end to the emotional trauma experienced by adolescent girls during menstruation. According to him, the intervention will not only support girls' health and dignity, but also ensure that no girl is left behind in her education due to menstrual-related challenges.
President in our living history would have been said that he prioritized women's mental and hygienic health after today's ceremony than Excellency John Dramani Mahama. A historical fact. Today's milestone, in my words, is to say a terminal end to the unbearable emotional trauma and indignity that young girls go through responding to the natural call. Excellency John Dramani Mahama says from today, you will give a terminal end to that strife and to that struggle, so that no girl child in Ghana will absent herself from school, have her dignity compromised, as we watch in the drama, because of undergoing this natural biological process. So I'm happy President Mahama himself is here to do us the honor of the launching. It will improve attendance and retention in our schools and consequently enhance academic performance.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama again has assured Ghanaians that Vice President is recuperating well and will soon return to work. The Vice President took ill a few weeks ago and had to take some time off duty as announced by the presidency. John Dramani Mahama has, however, assured that the Vice President will soon join him to continue advancing the Resetting Ghana agenda.
I wish to extend the greetings of Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman to all of you. I spoke to her yesterday and I told her we were going to miss her at this event because this is a program that is very dear to her. She said to say hello to all of you and to say she's recuperating and catching a bit of rest. She's very well, and that soon she will join us, to continue to prosecute the reset agenda.
Now, away from that, the Member of Parliament for Old Trafford, Vincent Eko Asefua, has described the stance of the Ghana Bar Association in the matter regarding the suspension of the Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, as disappointing. The Old Trafford MP on Thursday, 24th April, filed an application at the Supreme Court seeking an action to suspend the suspension of the CJ by President Mahama. In an interview with Bernice Abubedu Lanza on News Tonight, Asefua explained that the president ought to have filed a prima facie against the CJ before handing the matter to the Council of State. Here are excerpts.
Check Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. Nowhere is it stated clearly that in removing the CJ, you need to establish a prima facie. It is by way of interpretation that were sought from the Supreme Court by well-meaning Ghanaians, especially in the case of Frank GHOne versus the Attorney General, that gave the indication that in reading Article 146 in its entirety, the same way a prima facie will have to be established against an ordinary justice of the Supreme Court. When it comes to the Chief Justice, a prima facie will have to be established against the Chief Justice as well. But the question is, who establishes the prima facie against the Chief Justice? Because when it is against an ordinary justice of the Supreme Court, it is the Chief Justice. When it is the President, the Chief Justice who does so, it is my considered view that is the President who does so. Now, when you see the procedure in establishing the prima facie against an ordinary justice of the Supreme Court, it is when the Chief Justice receives the petition which has been referred to it by the President and now gives the petition to the justice who has been affected by way of the petition to give its comments and response. That is the procedure before a prima facie will have to be established. Article 146 talks about the fact that as soon as the President receives a petition against the Chief Justice, the next automatic procedure is for the President to consult the Council of State.
Well, the Ghana Bar Association has defended its statement, saying it cannot take a stance on the matter until a logical conclusion is reached. Here is National PRO of the association, Xavier Kuje.
Not deem it necessary to take a stance at this point. because don't forget the whole process that has been triggered by the president has not been done in a vacuum. It is done under the Constitution. So let's allow the process to be followed through to the logical conclusion when the committee set up by the president is done with this work based on the evidence that is gathered relative to the petition and the responses from the Chief Justice. Then, if the outcome is allowed or let into the public domain, people can now begin to run their commentary, do their analysis, and take stance to the extent that those who feel they can go to court can also go to court. Let us also be mindful of the fact that this same process that has been triggered by the president resulted in a situation where people are at the Supreme Court. I understand there are about 2 suits there. So it will not be proper for us at this time to be holding discussions and drawing conclusions at this time. What we should be doing, especially the lawyers, is to do education as to how the process works and not to draw conclusions, because at the end of the day, we have the benefit of looking at the outcome of the process as concluded.
Now, the superintendent of the Dansoman Circuit of the Methodist Church, Very Reverend Kwesi Sechi-Appiah, has issued a stern warning to individuals involved in illegal mining, commonly known as galamsey, citing the detrimental impact of their actions on the environment and future generations. Reverend Appiah emphasized that God is watching these individuals and will demand accountability for their deeds. There's more in the following report.
During fun games organized by the church to crown the Easter festivities, the Very Reverend Kwesi Sechi-Appiah condemned the exploitation of vulnerable individuals by powerful figures who prioritize personal gain through galamsey. Despite the government's relentless efforts to curb the menace, the activity still persists, with those involved remaining defiant.
If we have willfully, intentionally, out of greed and avarice, we are desecrating our water bodies, we are destroying our forest cover and our land, we will stand before God and give an account. God is watching, and we better sit up.
The Very Reverend Appiah also called on fellow pastors and the government to intensify efforts to combat drug abuse among Ghanaian teenagers, emphasizing the importance of securing the country's future.
These young men and women who are running drugs, I'm told some are called red and all that, they have been hooked by the devil, because the agenda of the devil is clear. He came to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But Jesus said he came that he would give us life and life more abundantly. I am just taking this opportunity to speak to my fellow workers. Let us go back to the original mandate that the Lord gave us. We are talking about souls.
The church's Easter festivities featured a range of fun games, including football, volleyball, chess, tug of war, and ludo, which brought members together in a spirit of oneness and celebration.
Now, former NUC's President Chomiopon Daniel has expressed concern over the presence of security personnel at the Edu market, which he believes could intimidate the predominantly female and elderly traders. Speaking during a donation of cement bags and cash to the traders, he urged the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly to adopt a more empathetic approach, engage in dialogue with the traders rather than resorting to force.
We witnessed an incident where we've had a lot of security personnel attacking our parents, attacking our traders. We want to sound a caution out there that as a youth group, our parents are in here. They are going to support our parents from the start to the end. No security force, no government machinery, no authority can intimidate our parents. If in case you want to embark on any project, we should follow the due process. We have leaders in here. If you want to make any project, we should follow the due process in meeting the leadership. Sit down with them, and find a lasting solution in solving this particular issue. the Machiavellian tactics of dealing with issues is attacked. We want our authorities, we want security personnel who are backed by authorities to come clear on the roadmap in renovating this particular place. Yes. But to ambush them and then lock the whole place, keep their so as a youth group, we want to assure our parents, we want to assure traders in the Sanitary region, we want to assure each and everybody who trades here that the youth in this country are behind them and nobody can intimidate them.
This is where we end GH Today News this morning. When you log on to starfm.com.gh, you'll find more news updates there. I am El-Nurein. Abass, many thanks to you for tuning in. Next, we have Lily Mohammed with GH Today.